When I think of the theme inside the backpack, I picture more than just books or bag. I see a life story, my life. I see what many don't. The silent battles, the burdens I've carried, the sins that have tried to hold me back. Yes, inside the backpack is the sin that once held me, the guilt, the secret struggles, the thing I prayed no one would ever find out. But I also see the mercy that met me, the grace that didn't give up on me, the forgiveness that lifted that weight off my shoulder. I carry the scars, but I no longer carry the chains. And to all, what do we say? May God be with us. My name is Moses Mogere Matara. I come from the great land Kisii, brought up in Kasarani, Nairobi. I'm currently studying cartography at the Kenya Institute of Survey and Mapping. But more than a student, I'm a young man walking a journey, not just academically, but deeply spiritually. Or we can say deeply spiritual. All in all, they're one. I've had a fight. I've had to fight through layers of doubt, delay, discouragement, and sin. My journey has been far from perfect, I can say, but it's been soaked in God's mercy. Through every struggle, I've learned that God isn't just writing my story, He is rewriting it. My childhood, I can say, was far from ordinary. I was a bright, curious kid with so many questions and dreams. But one thing, just as a normal kid, but one thing that marked my early years was constant change. I transferred through like more than 10 different primary schools. But I can't say that I was that rebellious, but because it was hard to find a place where I felt challenged, supported, and understood. But sometimes I transited to other schools because there were no other classes to be transited to. We all understand that. And I can say that each time I changed schools, it felt like starting life all over again. You know, going to other schools, finding new teachers, finding the new environment, new classmates. It was a bit exhausting. We all understand this. And there were moments I was deeply discouraged. And times I felt like giving up. But what kept me going was the quiet assurance that God had not forgotten me. With this verse that I was given with my parents, Jeremiah 29:11, that became my anchor. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. I clung to that verse like a lifeline. And I bet it may help you or remind you of that God is always there with you. God is always writing a story with you. God has a future for you. What changed everything for me was that moment I surrendered fully. I stopped running from God and started walking with Him. I stopped trying to look strong on the outward or on the outward part of it, and inside me I was like falling apart. That was the turning point when I realized that I don't have to carry this backpack alone. Christ offered to carry it for me. And in that surrender, I finally found my purpose. I began to realize that my story, my wounds, my failures, my redemption could help someone else survive. That's when I knew I was called not just to live, but to minister, to to mentor, to lift others who had or who are silently carrying similar weights like mine. If I could speak to my 16-year-old self or even 22-year-old self, I'd say you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. God already knows who you are, and He sees greatness in you. Don't let sin define you. Let grace rewrite your story. Be patient. God is preparing you in ways you don't yet understand. And to the youth listening today, especially those battling sin in silence, I want you to know you're not the only one. The enemy wants you to believe that you're too far off gone, and that's the opposite of what God wants you to know. God says you are just one step from freedom. Don't give up. That addiction, that shame, that secret struggle doesn't have to be the end of your story. Bring it to Jesus. He already knows. He still chooses you now and then, even now. If you are the only person in this world, yet Christ will die for you. In my backpack, I also carry the struggle of procrastination, something that has silently held me back from stepping fully into my purpose, I can say. For a long time, I delayed important decisions, hesitated on dreams, and ignored the quiet nudges that God gave unto me, or nudges from God, thinking I had time or that I wasn't ready. That's what I thought. But I've come to learn that procrastination is more than just a habit. It's a spiritual battle, often rooted in fear and doubt. Through prayer and growth, I'm learning to fight it with faith, knowing that delayed obedience is still disobedience. God has been teaching me to move when He says move, to trust Him even when I feel that I'm unprepared. And now I carry with me the lessons that every step of obedience, no matter how small, they break the grip of fear and brings me closer to His purpose for my life. What about yours? If mine is so, may God help us all in this walk. I'm proud that I kept walking, proud that I didn't allow my past to determine my future, that even when I was falling, I reached for God. You know, most of us, when we fall, we feel ashamed and we run away instead of reaching for God. Success is knowing I'm right with my Creator. It's about becoming more like Christ every day and using my life to make others better. I can say success to me is being at peace with my Christ, my Maker, my Creator. Looking ahead, I want to reach young people through ministry, education. My vision is to glorify God in all that I do, in all fields, I can say. And in all fields. So as I close, I say to you, whatever's in your backpack, whether it's pain, sin, procrastination, addiction, or fear, lay it at the feet of Christ. You don't have to carry it alone. He says, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 28:11. You can go read it. Come, all who are weary. Your story is not over. You're not disqualified. You are still breathing, and if you're breathing, which means you're still becoming, let your scars be proof that grace works, and you are loved, you are seen, and God is always with you. God loves you, and may God bless you.